So, yeah, I kind of got into this. Don't ask. Just please don't ask. So, yeah, totally not creepy. So, yeah, there's some stories, and yeah, I guess I have to read these because I don't know, I just wanted to do it. Let's pick and clove down in the dark. Dang it, I hate ads. I just hate them. No, I'm just gonna... Time takes it all, whether you want it or not. And in the end, there is only darkness. Sometimes we find others in that darkness. Sometimes we lose them there again. Stephen King, The Green Mile. I'm a grown woman, and I'm well past needing my father to come save me. But even so, I wish he were here now. I guess I never realized before just how much he's always been there for me. Sometimes I wonder. Wait, let me start from the beginning. When I was 6 years old, I became obsessed with seeing the pirate show. I overheard a kid at school talking about it. He said it was a puppet show about a girl who was friends with pirates and that it was on in the afternoon. Once I heard that, I had to see it. You know how little kids get obsessed with one particular thing for no reason? For me, that thing was pirates. I'm still not sure why, but hey, I was 6. The boy did not want to tell me what channel it was on, but after I pestered him, which means that he kept on convincing him enough, he gave him. After school, I ran to the TV to wait for 4 o'clock, but then the time came, nothing was there. The channel was static. I flipped through all the stations looking for the show. The next day, I accused the boy of making the whole thing up. But another girl in the class said no, the show was real. She'd seen it too. I asked her why I couldn't find it, and she didn't have an answer. The boy said that really I shouldn't watch it anyway, but he would not say why, and after that he stopped talking to me at all. Every day at 4, I sat in front of the TV, hoping that the pirate show would magically appear. I even asked Dad to call the local affiliate and ask about it. Dad would do almost anything for me, but they said they never heard of it. I was crushed. Months went by, the school year ended, and I became less zealous in my... I think it's jealous or zealous even, in my 4 o'clock vigil, but I would still check from time to time. One day I went down to the basement where Dad kept the old black and white TV in his workroom. Back then I had the idea that different TV sets show different shows, so I would always check both. If I couldn't find what was on, it was 4 o'clock and I turned on channel 58, just like always, but this time something was different. I heard static, but underneath it was just barely there. I heard music, strangely bouncy Cali up music, and then although the channel was still scrambled, I could just barely make out the picture there. After all this time was the pirate show. There was a girl, and there was a pirate marionettes, and there was a ship with the talking figurehead. It was just like the kids at school described. Of course, the picture was a mess, and I could only hear half of the dialogue, but I didn't care. I was ecstatic. I don't remember much about the program. It was half over by the time I turned it on. The only thing I really do remember was part where the little girl and the pirates standing outside of a cave and the ship tells them, "You have to go inside." Just like that. I guess it didn't sound like much, but at that moment I became very scared. I turned the TV off. and almost ran out of the basement. Suddenly, I wasn't interested. Okay, read this. Suddenly, I wasn't interested in the pirate show anymore. Wonder why. That should have been the end of it, and in fact, I'd like to think that it was. That's a bad sign. I like to think that what happened next was all the dream or the pride of a 6-year-old's imagination. For most of the last 40 years, that's exactly what I thought, and now I've started to wonder. That night, probably around 2 o'clock in the morning, I went to the bathroom. I was never scared in the dark when I was a kid, and in fact, I was a little proud of how I felt brave enough to wander around our house, our old creaky house with no lights on. On the way back, I noticed that the basement door was open, just a crack, and I heard something down in the basement. It was strange, jumbled circus music from the show. It was still playing. I stood there for a long time and not sure what to do. I heard the music and the voices of the characters drifting up from the basement steps, plain as day. They were loud, and there were no more noisy static. I told myself that I had simply left the television on, even though I knew I hadn't, and that Dad had somehow missed it before going to bed, even though I knew he never would. Yes, that would almost make sense, except that it didn't explain why a kids show, which is up until that afternoon, seemed never to be on at all, would be on at 2 in the morning. I was, as I've said, never a child afraid of the dark, or of nothing else. So, despite the strange circumstances, I resolved to go down and turn the old TV off and go back to bed. I'm so scared that I can't even talk. Actually, I'm not that scared, but I bet when I get to the end, it's going to just show something. And it did seem like a completely good idea. I'll admit, but I certainly wasn't going to run away from a television. I opened the basement door all the way and would probably have gone down if it wasn't for the fact that the very moment I prepared to put my little bare foot on the first doorstep, I heard that voice again. You have to go inside. But it did not sound as if it were coming from the television. There are limits to that even the bravest six-year-old will do. And I hadn't reached them. So I ran all the way to Dad's room and woke him up. He listened very calmly to my story. When I was done, he picked me up and carried me with him to the basement door. There was no music now, no voices, just darkness and silence. He set me down, and as he prepared to go to the downstairs, I wanted to stop him. I was sure all of a sudden that whatever was down there, I didn't want my daddy to be down there with it. But I can't think of anything to say, so I just watched him as he marched down those dark steps one at a time. I'm kind of crying. Like, I'm no joke. If you guys saw my face, I'm actually crying. I'm so scared of what's gonna happen. Just kidding. I'm crying. Well, kind of. I don't know why. As for these minutes and my father was down the basement, a part of me was certain he was never gonna come back. I even imagined that maybe something else would come back instead. I wasn't sure what. But of course he came back. He said that I had left the TV on, just like I thought. I asked him what was on, and he said, nothing, just that, nothing. And then he tucked me back into bed and sang to me that stroked my hair until I fell asleep. I loved my father very much. After that, I more or less forgot about the whole thing. If I ever came across my mind to the years to come, I chalked it up as a nightmare. Dad never mentioned it either. There was one thing. Oh, Don't do that ever again, Layla. I'm so scared right now. I read a scary story, okay? Don't ever do that. Basement 2. After I went to the college, he canceled the service and got rid of the other TV. And as far as I know, never got another one. I wonder about that now. Just like I wonder about those times. As a little girl, when I would catch my father staring off at nothing with his head tilted a little to the one side, like he was listening to something, a song or voice that he could hear, and I wonder whether it's just my imagination or time tampering with my memories, or if it's my father didn't have a strange look on his face when he came out of the basement that night, and the voice quivered a little. And hadn't he been down there just a little longer than it should have taken simply to turn off his television set? Oh my gosh. I guess those are questions only my father could have answered. And now, he never will. Today was his funeral, and that's why tonight, for the first time in 25 years, I'm sleeping in the old house alone. As they lowered the casket into the ground, the unwelcome image of him marching down those basement steps came back to me. Wait, I'm just... Layla! Put it back now. That scared me. My father...
Does that scare you?
I'm sorry that my sister is being annoying. I'm sleeping in the old house alone and I shivered. This time was my father and went down into the dark alone. I was sure he would not be back. That was the first time in a long time I thought about the pirate show and the night in the basement. I prefer not to keep thinking about it, especially since I have so much and nothing much on my own. But I'm afraid that I don't have any choice. You see, when I came back in the night, the basement door was open. I could hear music down there, and voices when I haven't heard since I was 6. I'm sure what if I open the basement door all the way and stand on the top of the stairs, I'll hear another voice telling me that I have to go inside. But I'm sure there's no television down there. I don't want to go. I want to run to my daddy's room and wake him up and have him sing to me sleep again. Shh. Well, none of them work. Okay. I want to run to my daddy's room and wake him up. I have him to sing to me again. But of course I can't. I do not think it's a coincidence that is happening the same day we buried him. I think somehow there's something my father has been protecting me for a long time. Or maybe not. Maybe there is nothing sinister in my basement 40 years ago. And maybe there's nothing down there now. And maybe it's just the stress of a funeral making me crack. They tell me that grief can induce hallucinations sometimes. It could be there's nothing to be afraid of down in the dark after all. I would very much like to think that's true. I guess I had to go down and see. I'll know for sure. Guess if I don't come back, y'all know. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Daddy. Sweet dreams. I love you. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Nathan?
Whoa.
Nathan.
Yes?
Can you sketch because I want to plug in my candles and
Okay, so... Okay, so... Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one in episode 2, and if you don't like what I'm doing, Just know that this is scary, and I'm actually more scared than you are, okay?